What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bench Podcast. My name is Joey, joined by my brother co-host Angel. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up? How's it going?
Go Yanks, huh?
Go Yanks. I've said this prior.
Yes.
I buy vibes. Yankee hats are always good vibes, dude. I wear Lakers and Dodgers and Yankees hats.
As much as that makes me want to punch you in the face, it does, like, it helps make sense.
Yeah, like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
and Yankees,
it opens a little window into your head.
It's a classic hat, and it's a classic team.
Jay-Z's hat, some would say.
Yeah.
We'll see. Over at the table today, we got double barrel action. Packers owner Gabe Tovar in the house. What's up, Gabe?
A lot of things are up, and I am super excited for this show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good show. AJ Wilson, 6'5", lifelong Eagles fan.
know it.
How you doing, man?
I'm great, man.
And
oh yeah,
let's hear it for the guest chair today. At the guest chair, the Professor David Adams. DA, as we like to call him, is in the house today to use his giant brain. I'm not kidding; he's actual professor. Like that's not that. Like we throw a lot of nicknames out there and like things. Yeah, this is actually real.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. He's also our first diversity hire because we have no white guys on the show.
Right.
Yeah, for all you guys who have been pounding the table for a white guy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We found one.
Finally got the minority here.
We found one, brought him in. Hey, he's a Baltimore fan.
We love
I feel like
Lamar.
we're checking all the boxes today.
Dude,
There's been a lot of Ravens pessimism the last couple episodes, so I'm going to try to bring this back in line a little bit here.
Has there?
you better watch it. During the season, I was all on the Ravens, dude. No, I was on the Ravens. Maybe in the offseason. Was there?
During the season, you like the Ravens.
Yeah, I was a big Ravens guy.
And like many, they lost us during the playoffs. I mean, that's just
That's
true.
We'll
see.
see.
The only ones there. On today's episode, it's a big episode. It's a fun episode. It's an episode we've been looking forward to. The first ever benched mock draft 1.0. Let's go, guys. Very excited. We have already done the draft. DA, Angel, and myself have done the draft. Gabriel and AJ also have picks that they made. We're going to reveal it to you now. Very, very excited about that. And word of something I'm not advice, but anyway, a little context here. These are the picks as we would make them.
Yes.
This is how we would draft, what we would do. And to be honest, sometimes I look at some of these GMs and I think I should have your job.
Yeah.
Like I should be a GM and you should be playing fantasy football. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like fantasy and real GMs are gonna hate that I say this. Fantasy football.
I don't think they're our audience. So
They're watching.
I'm pretty much a GM. I've been a GM for 7 years, man. I have no championships, but I've been a GM for 7 years.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith is fuming right now.
Yeah.
What about Gunter?
Goont.
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 Makes all the right calls.
Gunter's looking at his roster right now like, who needs to get cut?
Yeah. I'm about to goont somebody's ass.
Over 26, you're gone.
Yeah.
So we're getting into the mock draft today, and honestly, that's all we're going to do today. We're not going to do anything else because I want to give as much time as we can to this draft. But first, we'll check in with the fellas. Guys, how's the week going? How did everyone survive April Fool's Day?
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah, except for being tricked a couple times on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Angel's whole pregnancy thing that I still didn't understand.
I'm not going to explain it. But girls say that they're pregnant, like, as a joke all over Instagram on...
Horrible joke.
On April 1st.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Episode 112. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome to the show.
Hi.
If you're new to the channel, go and like the video. Subscribe to the page for more shows 3 times a week. Honestly, all sorts of fantasy, real-life football stuff, draft stuff, our own opinion.
What?
Honestly, when we get into a couple weeks here after the draft, I don't know what we're going to be doing, but we'll be talking about something.
We'll do something.
Yeah. So
But tune in to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast, thanks for joining in on the audio version of the Bench Podcast. And then, of course, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Search at Benched Show to follow us on all those platforms. There's a lot of exclusive content. That's the podcaster word, right?
Yeah.
Podcasting now, baby.
Yeah.
On those different platforms, different content for different platforms, right? Different.
Different
types of
strokes,
videos.
Different folks. There it is.
I was going to say that. I felt it was 2 on the notes. But then Gabe got it.
Yeah.
I got you.
We're good.
I got you.
Okay.
So different platforms. We got stuff going up there, so make sure you're following along. Let's waste no more time. Let's get into this mock draft. 2024 NFL draft is actually 26 days away.
Too far away. It's too far away. I need it to be like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Very excited about it.
I feel like where I'm ramped up right now, I don't know how that's going to sustain for 3 weeks.
And then the day of, they have like 8 hours of pre-draft coverage. You sit there just like...
I'm already prepping my wife. Like, I'm not doing anything those days.
It's me in front of a TV with my laptop, just like, no one bother me. I'm not doing anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this draft. Okay, for this mock draft, we're gonna let's lay the ground rules. Da, Angel, myself did this draft. We did one by one, rotated picks. Sometimes we made trades. So if you see one of us picking twice, that's because we traded up for that pick.
Yes.
We'll announce it. Don't worry, we'll announce the trades. We'll detail the trades so you know what's happening. But I think, honestly, I don't think these trades are too far out in left field. I think this is going to be a draft. If ever there's going to be trades, I think this is the one, man, because not only is it quarterback heavy, we found out it is tackle heavy, it is receiver heavy. There's a couple of names here that fall during the draft that you think, how is that name in that space?
Yeah, and there's so many rumors about GMs and head coaches that want to trade back. I know the Jets are one, and the Chargers think everyone that they might trade back. So that just means, and the Vikings make it so obvious, Denver's making it so obvious, and the Raiders. Those are my three teams right there that could trade up. Even if I don't mock one of them to trade up in this mock, I can see all three of them trading up in this year's draft.
All right, let me break us in here with the first pick in the. That is so loud.
We're going to have to lower that.
Hey, we're working out the kinks. We're working out the kinks.
They're really
excited.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears take Caleb Williams.
Hey.
Listen, not a surprise here. Caleb Williams has been a Bear since probably about halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Right. Caleb Williams out of USC. We don't need to talk too much about him. I'm honestly kind of sick of talking about Caleb Williams. I think after the whole Fields thing kind of cleared up, I was kind of good. DA, you're obviously new to the show here. Anything else you want to add about Caleb Williams that maybe you've been pondering?
I think that he is one of those guys that you know is good because people are just looking for things to hate about him. You're seeing this almost with the ladies tournament right now, right? That, Caitlin Clark, she's, too aggressive, or the LSU team is, too trash talky or whatever.
Took us 10 minutes to talk about Caitlin Clark.
Go ahead. They're looking for stuff, but this is what it is with anything. Right? Lamar can't prove it in the playoffs yet, and he hasn't.
Now we got it. He's getting all the issues now. By the way,
Jackson is the MVP.
Dennis Pitta deserved an All-Pro.
I don't know how we.
No, I think you're right. I think he is to that level where now we're just kind of picking at this guy who's as flawless as we've seen coming out of college.
I think we're picking at his personal life and kind of
we're
magnifying that a little bit more than it needs to be.
If you're at the point where you're going at his fingernails, it's time to start. It's paralysis by analysis. He's the number one overall guy.
I haven't said a word.
I can feel the judgment.
We all know he's going number one overall to the Bears. Let's talk about the Bears now. They have made quite the landing spot for Mr. Caleb Williams. DJ Moore, breakout season last year. This late in his career, we all kind of hoped it would be, and it was last year with Justin Fields. Now he gets Caleb Williams and then overcomes Keenan Allen, longtime Charger, as the number 2. I mean, it is stacked.
Yeah, it's a nice landing spot for a quarterback, let alone a rookie quarterback who is as talented. I think they're going to allow him to just throw the ball 35, 40, because you have all the weapons.
Yeah.
2 pass-catching tight ends and 2 phenomenal all-pro caliber wideouts. Why not just throw it 40 times?
Can you speak to his ability at the line to change plays, to read defenses, that pre-snap? Is that we're going to get right off the bat with Caleb Williams?
I think it's something that he's already proven that he can do, but it's not the strength of his game.
Okay.
Right? It's something that any good quarterback is able to read it out, but where he really thrives is in those moments of chaos when he tries to break, contain, and scramble around. But really, he's doing it, unlike one of the quarterbacks we're going to talk about, he's looking to try to pass. He's looking to still throw it downfield. So I think he's got the processing, but he's never going to be the Peyton Manning type, just kind of supercomputer, manipulating everything at the line. He's more in that new age type of quarterback that wants to scramble, wants to run, wants to look for openings.
Right. So maybe as we start here, maybe Shane Waldron has a little bit more control of the offense, is giving him the play and maybe 1 or 2 checks, but he's pretty much running what is being called with those weapons, and it kind of maybe giving him a little more slack as the season goes on.
And I think going out and getting Keenan Allen is the exact kind of thing you do to ease a quarterback into it, because you've got a guy that can separate with routes.
Yeah.
You've got a guy in DJ Moore that can pick up yak. You've got a guy in Cole Kmet that can go make plays across the middle. You've got a pass-catching running back in DeAndre Swift. You've got all of these pieces that Williams doesn't have to force it into tight windows 30 yards down the field in order to get the offense moving. All these pieces around him are helping him out.
I have a question for you guys here. If Caleb Williams goes to the Bears, right? Who do you like better? And this is a real question. Caleb Williams and the Bears, if Caleb Williams is what we think he is, or C.J. Stroud and the Texans?
I'll take Stroud.
Why?
I just like Stroud. I don't know. Stroud, I think because I don't know, like on paper, it's, Caleb Williams is supposed to, if he's everything he's supposed to be. But I think Stroud can do the exact same with a lot less. That's why I like him. Like they're setting up Caleb Williams just be good right away. Stroud had to make Nico Collins a thing. He had to make Dalton Schultz a thing.
Okay, so shouldn't that...
That's kind of the thing, though. You're making them good right now. Like, the Bears cannot... If Caleb Williams is everything that we think he is, they're winning 10 games at the very least.
Take away the quarterbacks. Are these rosters even close? Or
that's the thing.
The Bears, in my mind, the Bears roster is so much better than the Texans.
Maybe not as long-term, but right now, they're way better.
And it's what you said. It's the way you phrase the question. If Caleb Williams is what we're all saying he is, that's the way we need to answer this question. And if that's the question, the answer is the Bears. I'm taking the Bears.
Tell you what, Jordan Love, you're in trouble, my guy.
His resume is going to look great when he wins the division.
Those are going to be great games. Those are going to be great games.
Yeah, they're going to be fun.
Packers, Bears. Okay, let's move on here to pick number 2. David Adams, you have the pick.
With the second pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Drake Maye, quarterback from North Carolina. And after Caleb Williams, it feels like there's a lot more uncertainty about how the next couple of quarterbacks will play out. I want the guy that has the ability to throw it all over the field, that has proven he can succeed with lesser weapons. You've got Tez Walker, someone in North Carolina. He's fine. He's going to get drafted somewhere in the first couple of rounds. But especially head-to-head against Jayden Daniels, that's going to have 2 of the first 4 receivers in this draft. I think Drake Maye has proven that he can create more, that he can elevate more. I think there's more arm talent there. I think there's some less of the physical question marks. Daniels has some strengths that Maye doesn't have, but Daniels also has question marks that Maye doesn't have. And I think Drake Maye is a bit more prototypical. Sometimes you get enamored with, this guy looks like an NFL quarterback, and the real question is, can he actually play football? But I think that Maye is a safer pick here and is going to set them up better to keep progressing year over year.
I mean, Drake Maye, 6'4", 230. I think he looks every bit the part that we want in a quarterback. Obviously, 2022 was a huge season for Drake Maye. 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That kind of put him on the map as one of the top quarterbacks. And then some people really knock him for this last season. He did 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Not as impressive. But I think every football person that I respect and I tend to trust their opinion, they think, listen, if you're down on Drake Maye, I think you're just overanalyzing this last season. This guy is it. He has all the tools. Like David said, he can throw it. There's not a throw he can't make. I like Drake Maye. I know you're not huge on Drake Maye, right?
The only reason why, and it's a lazy analysis, it's just because Drake Maye's fine. Just he played for who did he play? One.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have the same questions, the same talent level in my mind that Mitch Trubisky did. So all I'm seeing is might be the same guy, but I could be wrong. Look, it's the talent level at core. I think you can get away with being a good cornerback in a D2 school, but a good quarterback in a good quarterback in a D2 school, I don't see it transitioning well because I don't think it ever has. For these quarterbacks, I don't know. It reminds me of Mitch, and I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, Commanders fans are going to hate you that you would even bring up Mitch Trubisky.
Well, because
that's incredibly terrifying.
Yeah.
But I mean, just right off the top of my head, Josh Allen, Carson Wentz. You know what I'm saying? Carson. Yeah. For one season. for a season and a half. For about a year.
Yeah, I'm saying there's a lot of obviously there's the outlier Josh Allen, Carson Wentz, but there's also the ones that never made it because of the competition.
Okay, so of all the knocks I've seen against Drake Maye, that's really the only one that I've seen that might carry some weight. The level of competition is a real thing. You played in North Carolina. Probably some of the schools on his schedule we didn't even know existed, maybe at some points. Yeah. David Adams, you made the pick, and number 2, is that enough to cause you pause and maybe consider the Heisman winner, Jayden Daniels?
I think if it's 50-50, you go with the higher competition, but at the same time, Drake Maye, he's playing against teams like FSU. We've got a first-round defender coming up in a couple of picks. We've got a first-round defender from Clemson coming up in a couple of picks. We've got a first-round player from Duke on the offensive line coming up in a couple of picks. Yeah. So there's still enough first-round talent that it's not like they're in the WAC or something like that where you're playing Colorado State every week.
So basically, you're saying maybe Angel's point is whack.
Wow. It sounds like.
Well, yeah, for a positive spin, the Commanders desperately need a franchise quarterback. I think you take a stab at the best available, and he's the best available, and this is just what you have to do when you're in their kind of position.
So Caleb Williams goes 1 overall, Drake Maye number 2. With the 3rd pick, Angel, take it away, my friend.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Whoa!
wide receiver, Ohio State. At this point in the Patriots roster, there's not a lot of superstars. I think at this point, there's too many question marks about Jayden Daniels for me. There's too many question marks about JJ McCarthy. The best prospect on the board right now, maybe in this whole draft, is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
The Biletnikoff winner? Yeah, there we go. 14 touchdowns back-to-back years, 1,200 yards back-to-back years. You put him on this roster for a team that's been trying to get this position right for the last 6 or 7 years. You have a generational prospect where you just say, we're put him here, and we're going to figure out the rest as we go. I think for a team that's that bad and that has so many holes, you just start picking best available. I don't think you have to be so quarterback. I think if there's any question about Jayden Daniels in those scouts' minds or in my mind, I'm just going to go right towards what I'm pretty sure is going to be a superstar wideout.
I'll tell you what, if I'm making this pick, I'm either taking Marvin Harrison or I'm trading back. Yeah. I'm not in love with either of the quarterbacks at this spot. I love Marvin Harrison. I think we pretty much know what he's going to be. We're definitely a lot more sure as to what he is rather than one of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think getting that room right for the first time in a long time and maybe going into a season with someone more than Kendrick Bourne.
Well, their current
and Jalen Reagor.
And KJ Osborne.
Yes.
And,
Hunter Henry. Those are not the guys that I want to throw a rookie quarterback in with. But Marvin Harrison, get him in there. And maybe you start now to develop a landing spot for a quarterback down the road.
Yeah, and what makes them and the addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. allows the Kendrick Bournes, KJ Osbornes to fall into their more natural roles, like the 2, the 3 instead of having to be the number 1 option for a what shouldn't be a top 5 passing offense. It should be a lower tier passing offense. I think it's just the best blue chip prospect for a bad team. Just start picking them and just start collecting them over the years. Next thing you know, you have pretty good roster.
Dia, we'll go to you on this pick. Marvin Harrison at 3. What do you think?
I think it makes sense if you like Jer'Zhan Newton, first-time head coach. He's just starting his time with the Patriots.
Yeah.
You're not under pressure that I have to win now. I have to sell the owner that this is going to be the turnaround year. Like Angel's mentioning, you've got the time to develop that overall collection of talent on the roster. I think makes sense.
So Marvin Harrison Jr. there to New England Patriots as they look to kind of turn the page from the last 20, 25 years.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison may, honestly, right away the face of the franchise. Yeah, I think so. Him and Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, he's on all he's on all the posters. He's on all the marketing campaigns. He's on they put a big old sign everywhere in Boston. Yeah,
I like it. Let's move us along here to the 4th pick. David Adams, you actually have back-to-back picks here, so go ahead.
And we are going to see a trade here.
Oh,
for the first time in the mock.
Hey-oh. There it is. There's a trade. Let's get the details up there, AJ. All right, so we got a trade here. Go ahead.
The Minnesota Vikings moving up from 11.
Oh, wow.
And they are going to pay the 23 this year. They acquired it from Houston a couple weeks back. Clearly they want to move again. And they're going to send next year's 1st and 2nd. Get a mid-round pick back next season.
Quite the haul.
And they're going to send all of this. And from LSU are going to take quarterback Jayden Daniels.
Heisman man himself. Hey, quite the plunder. What? Because they're Vikings.
What's surprising is that the JJ McCarthy
didn't land.
Nope, the McCarthy hype was real, but then can you just explain why they would pick a Jayden Daniels over? Because all the hype right now is JJ McCarthy is rising up boards, and now Jayden Daniels is kind of getting into question. Why pick him over a Heisman winner in Jayden Daniels?
I think this is going to be really close. Almost made the move figuring this is what Minnesota is going to do, and now I just got to take what quarterback I feel most comfortable with. Late in the season, as it became clear they were moving on from Kirk, there started to be this buzz that they'd called about trying to get up to the 4th pick this previous season, looking at Anthony Richardson. And so it sounds like O'Connell is open to not just the pocket-based kind of quarterback that they've had the last couple of years with Kirk Cousins. And even you don't have prime Dalvin Cook there anymore. So being able to find a way to add another dimension to your team, I think, is going to be important at this point. Jayden Daniels with impeccable production this last year. He is a little bit older. He didn't start as hot in his college career. He was helped by other first-round talents around him. But just the massive production that he had at LSU, winning the Heisman Trophy, putting up, 3,000+ yards in the air, over 1,000 yards on the ground, dozens of touchdowns. I think you take the bet on the production. I think you take the bet on the multi-dimensional nature they can give the offense. I think this is going to be their pick.
I mean, if he hits, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun offense.
I was just about to get into this offense here with new running back Aaron Jones. Of course, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison there. No longer KJ Osborne. Hawkinson coming off that ACL. I think it's not realistic to think that this offense isn't going to take a step back. Kirk Cousins was that good at running this offense specifically. Yeah. But I think Jayden Daniels gives you someone who at the very worst, like, he's an upside play. Yeah. Where if he hits and if he is Heisman Jayden Daniels, this is an offense that can compete with the Bears, can compete with the Packers and the Lions in that division. Goodness gracious, what a division. Yeah. A lot of fun. I mean, the offense could be a lot of fun, and you got to kind of sell Justin Jefferson on the future of this franchise. He hasn't signed yet still. Right,
and that's going to be the most important thing for their franchise overall, because this is the kind of player that can elevate someone around him. When Kirk came to Minnesota, right, there's questions about, does he really show up for big games? Is he really the kind of guy that you can build a franchise around? I don't know that those have been 100% answered, but the last couple of years with Justin Jefferson, you were really able to feel like you at least had something to build around a lot more. Jefferson just elevates everyone around him. You can't lose him for nothing.
Yeah, I think for the first time since I've been watching the Justin Jefferson Vikings, last year I saw Justin Jefferson be the man for this team down the stretch. And I realized they weren't winning every game. But those games where he was going in with Jaron Hall and Josh Dobbs and these quarterbacks that were just way outmatched on the other side, I saw him kind of rise to a level like, wow, he can kind of do it with anyone. So I think Jayden Daniels is someone who, what can that duo be? You know what I'm saying?
He has a lot more talent. I mean, no offense to those quarterbacks, but Jayden Daniels obviously is a Heisman-winning quarterback with Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson and Jordan Addison. I think it's a pretty good. I think it's a just as good landing spot as Caleb Williams offensively. Yeah. As far as offensive weapons, as Caleb Williams in Chicago.
And you have the budding rivalry between Jared Goff and more so the Lions and the Packers. Now you have these two rookie top 5 quarterbacks all in the same division. Yeah. The NFC North is going to be a lot of fun if this happens.
And you've seen a flip now. You've seen the bottom two teams, not bottom teams, but you've seen the Packers move on. You've seen the Vikings move on. Now it's a new era of quarterback play in the NFC North. It's going to be pretty freaking exciting.
A lot of fun. So Jayden Daniels goes number 4 to the Minnesota Vikings. DA, you have this pick as well.
And with this, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to stick and pick. Was trying to move down. Yeah. But both teams that are really looking at coming up for a quarterback are in division. Yeah. Neither wanted to pay additional firsts to a division rival. And so with their hand forced, having to pick, the Los Angeles Chargers choose wide receiver Malik Nabers out of LSU.
Interesting pick.
Bad man.
There's a lot of buzz that offensive line is the direction that Harbaugh wants to go because that's Harbaugh. That's who he is at his core.
Right.
At the same time, I don't think there's a franchise in the NFL with a greater gap between the skill of their quarterback and the skill of their pass catchers.
Absolutely.
Right? No Keenan Allen anymore. Austin Eckler was losing a step, but he's still a good pass-catching running back. You don't have him anymore. I mean, you're going into the next – you don't even have Gerald Everett anymore. So you're going into the next season with Josh Palmer, uninspiring Quentin Johnson, and nothing else.
Right. You don't have the tight ends anymore.
You've got to give them something else to work with in order to open up. Gus Edwards came in the offseason. He's good. There's talent there. He's not a pass catcher at all.
Right.
So you got to get something for Justin Herbert to work with. I think Malik Nabers edges it out by a hair. Rome Odunze is really good as well. You can't go wrong with either of those. Can't go wrong with some of the tackle options. But I think Nabers' speed helps unlock some of what Herbert can do.
Many people have Malik Nabers right there with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, this guy, don't be surprised if he comes out and he's right, every bit as impressive as a Marvin Harrison. Yeah. Like, a lot of people would put him at number 1. Like, that conversation is happening amongst the smart people who study the draft. This guy is a legit prospect, and so is Rome Odunze. Like, we'll get to him in a little bit, but it's a great receiver draft. Malik Nabers, I think, might be kind of the same deal as the Patriots. Like, listen, let's just get a stud in here that we were pretty sure about. Although I'd argue Joe Alt's kind of the same type of thing, but I think it's a great point with the gap between what Justin Herbert is and what he can be, and giving him those weapons. It might be malpractice not to give him at least one that he can a 1 home run hitter.
Yeah, but say it might be a disservice to your franchise quarterback to not provide any help. I know Joel in offensive line would be a huge help, but I mean this is a clear landing spot. I would put Joe Alt here, but the Nabers is hard to pass up, and I totally get it because there's nothing in that wide receiver room besides disappointment and Josh Palmer.
Disappointment and Josh Palmer.
The fact that you've even got Rashawn Slater there, you've at least got something, right? So if Herbert's getting killed week in, week out, man, Joe Alt looks really tempting. And he looks tempting anyway.
Right.
But the fact you've at least got one kind of cornerstone on the line to keep Herbert upright, I think Nabers is the fit here.
And they picked up some veteran linemen. Maybe they could just kind of game manage a way to not put Herbert in like a 5-step drop or spread off. And maybe they're trying to find a play act, something to almost alleviate those kind of woes that they're going to have with this offensive line if they pick Nabers.
So there's your top 5: Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jayden Daniels, and Malik Nabers. Let's get to this number 6 one here. And hold on, what's that? That's so cheesy, right? We got a trade. Another trade's going on. Angel, you sly son.
My Denver Broncos! With the 6th pick, select quarterback JJ McCarthy out of Michigan.
I love it.
Look,
first tell us about the trade.
Okay, the trade is Broncos basically trade number 12 overall and next year's first and a 5th and wide receiver Courtland Sutton to the New York Giants for this number 6 pick. It's 2 firsts and a wideout because you have to compete with the Oakland Raiders. Going through the Raiders roster, there's no one who is a disposable asset who they can just trade, who they can just trade in and just add in. I think it comes down to the what we said yesterday. The Broncos might not be as good as the Raiders next year. Maybe the Broncos pick is maybe 4 or 5 picks. Be 4, but this is my pick. McCarthy. I know he only threw 10 or 11 times in that championship game. I know his stats aren't amazing.
He was really fresh.
But this is a Sean Payton guy. IQ gonna run his offense, Sean Payton's offense the way Sean wants it run. Ball control, exactly what he did in Michigan. A college winner. I think this is Sean Payton all the way, goes up, finds his guy, is not gonna let Russell Wilson and the ghost of that bad contract haunt this next season like it did last season.
Yeah.
He attacks it right away. JJ McCarthy, we just go right into it. And please be good, JJ. Please, for the love of God, be good.
So they haven't really done anything to their quarterback room besides just Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, Stidham's there. Yeah.
When most teams have at least added a couple of quarterbacks to the room to compete and just to maybe fortify against maybe they get no one in the draft.
Yeah.
They have just Stidham. Yeah. And so I think they have to come away. They put themselves in a position where they might have to come away with a quarterback.
Yeah.
And so making this move with JJ McCarthy isn't surprising. I don't love the value of taking JJ McCarthy here at the pick, but sometimes if you believe in a guy, it just takes one coach to do it.
Yeah.
And they may pay the premium to come get him.
Here's the one thing I'm concerned about. So Jerry Jeudy already moved on this offseason.
Yes.
Now we're including Courtland Sutton in this deal as well. McCarthy, someone who benefited from the infrastructure around him in Michigan.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, Marvin Mims better be ready to go.
Yeah, this is going to be a real situation where they're trusting the head coach to game plan to make this, because I think this year they're going to run the ball a lot more. I think in the second round, third round, they might pick another running back and become more like the Chargers than people think they are. They're going to be a really run-heavy play action team, kind of help JJ McCarthy slow down. I do get the concerns with you. You just gave away your talented wideout in Jerry Jeudy. Now you just traded Courtland Sutton away. I do get that. But I think the desire and the need for quarterback will overcome those kind of worries. But yeah, it's a fair point. But I think Sean Payton doesn't want to be a bad team for long. Last year, under 500. I don't think he wants to be that for very long. It might turn some heads, but this is what I think that they are going to do.
You think so? It's what you would do, and you think they're actually going to do
I think they're going to do that, and I think it's
yeah. I mean, he's known for his accuracy. He's known for his football IQ. Also, a better athlete than most people realize. A really good athlete. Really good at manipulating the pocket. Really good at extending plays. So I'd be excited to see JJ McCarthy there. I think that particular demographic of Denver would really receive his skin tone.
Sheesh.
No, I think he'd be a great fit for Denver. And I am concerned about the weapons, though. Like Marvin Mims, Tim Patrick off an injury. I think that's a rough place to put a quarterback in, but there's still time to make moves at receiver. Yeah. There's also more picks you can make.
And there's also wideouts who are disgruntled in their current team.
Let's move on here to the Next pick, is it me?
It says, yeah.
Yep, it's me. Yep. Got the Tennessee Titans, and with the 7th pick in the 2020-24 draft, the Tennessee Titans take and they run the pick to the podium. Joe Alt, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. Look at this man. That's the modern day tackle. Mm-hmm. Long, athletic. I mean, bend. This guy has it all.
Yep.
This guy is going to be a borderline all-pro tackle for the next 10 years. Like, that's the kind of prospect he is. And this is what happens in a quarterback-heavy draft. Guys like Joe Alt get pushed to the 7th pick. And I think the Titans, having picked Peter Skoronski last year, pair him with Joe Alt, and they have solidified that right side. And listen, this offseason, they've proved it's all about giving Will Levis the chance to succeed. Yeah. They went and got the receivers. They way overpaid for Ridley. They have Ridley, Burks, and Hopkins. That's a great trio. Yeah. Now they bring in Pollard and Spears in the backfield, shore up this offensive line. I mean, if nothing else, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think even if Will Levis is a bust or if he's not great, you still have a great up-and-coming offensive line. Yeah. Back-to-back first round for top 10 picks. This is great. And they just invested the top, I think Cushenberry is now top 5 paid center in the league. So they're clearly seeing we have to fix this line. And through the draft, fixing lines is just the fantastic way to go. One, it's cheap. And two, you can have him for a long time and not pay him nothing. And Joel, honestly, if it wasn't for all the needy quarterback teams, he'd be picked maybe 4 or 5 or maybe even like 3. But it's just there's so many bad teams with no QBs. He's gifted to Tennessee here.
What I love about this pick is that even if Will Levis doesn't work, they are the prime location next year. Yeah. For not only a rookie quarterback, but if Dak moves on. Or if one of these other, the surprise name that shows up there, and they're looking for a team they can win with right now, they might look at Tennessee and think, not bad.
Yep.
Not bad, DA.
We saw this with Atlanta this offseason, right? Part of why they were able to get in on Cousins was because you've got Drake London, you've got Kyle Pitts. Hey, we've got to see him bounce back, but there's at least talent there. Yeah. You've got Bijan. They went out and signed Darnell Mooney, who's at least a complimentary receiver. You're either going to get clarity that Levis is it, or you're going to get clarity that he can't hack it, even despite the tools around him, and then you're going to have a great situation for the next guy. Yeah. So it's a win all the way around.
Yeah. DA, you got the next pick. Go ahead.
And with the 8th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select edge Dallas Turner from Alabama. First defensive player in this draft at the 8th pick overall. It's not a particularly defense-heavy draft, but Atlanta, they've gone skill position the last 3 years in the first round. They've poured a lot of resources into that side of the ball, but you got to get some stops as well if you're going to win. Dallas Turner is definitely a great athlete. Not quite as much production as Will Anderson coming out of Bama last year, but he's proven that he can succeed at a high level. He's got all the tools that you're looking for. You need to put something in that side of the ball. Yeah. Dallas Turner's the pick for Atlanta here.
Yeah, I love this pick.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, I mean, signing him to that contract with those weapons, you have told your entire organization, we're going for a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. Yeah. That's where our mind is. And you need players that can help you right now. I think Dallas Turner is one of those guys. Pass rushers seem to transition into the league maybe a little faster than some of the other positions, particularly in the secondary. I like Dallas Turner here. I think he's an impact player maybe toward the end of the year or maybe right off the bat. Crazy athlete, a little small, but nowadays pass rushers, like Micah Parsons, I think is all of 230, 235.
Yeah.
So I think it works.
Yeah. No, solid pick in a position of like need for them. They don't have any one of those freaky, defensive end pass rusher guys.
Your next name's good.
With the 9th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select defensive end Jared Verse.
Love this.
I am all about when you have a star defensive end, pair him with somebody. Yeah. Jared Verse is the best 4-3 defensive end. Dallas Turner is a more of an edge 3-4 guy. Jared Verse is a put his hand on the ground and rush the passer. Highly productive, 9 sacks in all 3 years. This is a slam dunk pick. I think they run this pick in and start to build that defense as one of the best, if not the best, in all of football, with playmakers on all 3 levels, and now add Jared Verse, a cheaper defensive end first round contract to that already expensive defense. Now I think this is a slam dunk. You run this in, and you're just elated that you come out with Caleb Williams and Verse, the best players on offense and defense in this draft.
Yeah, maybe down the stretch there. I mean, statistically, they might be backed up. Maybe no better defense in the league last year. Yeah. Down the stretch, once Eberflus was the play caller for the defense. Yep. They traded for Montez Sweat. Now this offseason, they've done nothing but add to that defense. Bring back Jalen Johnson. Bring in Jared Verse now to complement Montez Sweat on the other side. DA,
I think
we need to go to you because you're a Florida State fan. Tell us about Jared Verse.
I'm all about Jared Verse. He had transferred from Albany. He played the 2022 season for us. There's a lot of buzz that he was going to be a top half of the first round guy in last year's draft. He decided to come back, take a shot at the playoff. We're not going to talk about the committee decision there. We're just going to leave that in the past. But sometimes those guys, right, man, they're staring at millions of dollars in the NFL waiting for them. And he showed that he's got a willingness to compete, that he wants to get in there and win. And then he played well again this year, right? That he didn't fall off, that it wasn't a one-time thing. But he proved he can do it year over year. He proved he's a competitor. He proved he's a team player. I really like this pick for Chicago.
Yeah.
Jared Verse to Chicago at number, is that 9?
Yeah.
At number 9. Let's get into the 10th pick here. And with the 10th pick, the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets are going to take Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. I think this, value-wise, is an incredible pick. I think at the end of their rookie years, Rome Odunze, Malik Nabers, maybe even Marvin Harrison are going to have similar rookie years where we're crazy excited about all of them, except only one of them was taken all the way down at number 10.
Yeah.
Rome Odunze adding to Garrett Wilson. I know we're not completely sold that Mike Williams is going to be the impact player that people might hope. He's just obviously hurt right now, and always hurt. Behind him, Allen Lazard was kind of a letdown last year, but it might be the quarterback situation. Not much at tight end. Of course, Breece Hall there. I love Rome Odunze here. By the way, working out in the offseason with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
So kind of a good fit. What do you think?
Yeah, clear position of need and also clear indication that we're not going to rely too heavily on Mike Williams' health. And I think this is great. You pair him with Garrett Wilson. That even when Rodgers moves on and whenever you still have two star. One's a superstar wideout, and the other one could be that. I think this is slam dunk, easy pick, position of need, and great value too. People are high on this freaking kid. He's all talent.
Like the Falcons, Jets are Super Bowl in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Rodgers is here for one reason, to bring a Super Bowl to New York, and I like doubling down on maybe even a wide receiver one for this guy. I think it's a good move.
I think Odunze may or may not be the best receiver in this class. It's really close. I think he's going to have the best rookie year of any receiver because you look at the other guys. Marvin Harrison's going to New England. That's not going to be a super pass-happy offense.
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't have a Rodgers-level talent there. Malik Nabers, so he's going to be at Los Angeles. He's got a little bit more of a chance to become the one. He's not dealing with a Garrett Wilson-type player. But how much is Harbaugh actually going to be throwing the ball this year?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Odunze comes out really strong. I think he's the receiver one, at least statistically, this first year as he enters the league.
I love it. Rome Odunze, let's take a quick look back at the number 10. We got Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Marvin Harrison, that top 3. Jayden Daniels goes to number 4 to Minnesota. Malik Nabers, JJ McCarthy. The Broncos come up and get him. Joe Alt gifted to Tennessee. Dallas Turner and Jared Verse, the pass rushers, to Atlanta, Chicago. And, of course, Rome Odunze there to the Jets. Any of these picks before we move on surprise you?
No, I'm very curious to see if Atlanta kind of wishes they just flipped it and gotten Verse and just made it work.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. I think everyone else is a position of need. I'm curious to see what Patriot fans think if once they see it's like no quarterback taken when they obviously need one. They just traded Mac Jones, so it's just Brissett's job to lose, I guess. But yeah, I don't think you pass up on.
There is your top 10. I think it's obviously who knows how it's actually going to turn out, but this isn't like way out there for me. This is a very plausible situations. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're getting to the remainder of this first round. We wanted to kind of take our time with that top 10, but we'll get back here and cover the rest of the first.
Yes.
This segment is brought to you by Dad Gang Hats. Dad Gang makes the highest quality hats in the apparel industry because they use premium materials, pay close attention to detail, and prioritize durability and comfort. With so many styles, colors, and designs, they absolutely have the right hat for you and the dad in your life. Use code BENCHED76826. That's BENCHD 76826 for 15% off your first purchase. Shop Dad Gang Hats, quality hats for quality dads. Okay, we are back with our first ever mock draft here. DA in the house, the professor. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
today. I'm smarter for you being in here.
Yeah.
We all are.
You concur?
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you don't say that about me.
Because I'm not smarter for you.
Oh,
I'm more aware of pop culture.
okay.
You
I'll
being
take,
here.
I'll take that. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Let's get into the number 11 pick. And with the 11th pick, there's a trade in the house.
Holy hell!
The AFC West are some naughty boys.
Yep.
The Las Vegas Raiders. I'm so tempted to say Oakland already. Coming up here to pick number 11, they trade with the Cardinals, who already traded back.
Yep.
They land the 13th overall pick next year, a second and a fourth. So they're stacking the picks, moving back in the draft. But who are the Las Vegas Raiders? The Coach Pierce. What's it? Michael Pierce?
Yeah.
His name? Who are they coming up to get?
Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce. Yeah, Michael didn't seem right. Who's Michael Pierce?
The D tackle for the Baltimore Ravens.
There you go. Doesn't matter. They come up, and with the 11th overall pick, Michael Penix, quarterback from Washington, goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. Nice. He is kind of the hotness right now because of what is a lot of people are saying, an amazing pro day. This guy, he looks the part. He honestly looks like one of my friends, but we won't get into that. But a physical specimen, can throw the ball out the gym.
Ran a 4.5.
Ran a 4.5. He's very, like we like to say, a draft term, toolsy.
Yeah, very toolsy.
Raiders are, no matter how you see them, they see themselves in a Super Bowl window. I like what they've done in the offseason. I love Wilkins. That's probably one of my favorite signings in the free agency. I think they're looking to make a splash at quarterback. I think as much as they want to say Aiden O'Connell, it's his job to lose, I don't think they believe that.
Yeah.
I like the move here. I think this is a place to make a move like this. I like this value better than I like the McCarthy value. DA, what do you think?
I think Penix is one of those guys that succeeded in a great situation. And now we're going to have to see if he could succeed in a less stacked situation. He's got Devontae Adams. That is as good as you can get at number 1.
Right.
It starts to fall off from there. Jacoby Myers is solid. There's something there. Michael Mayer, there's room to grow. Tight ends usually take a couple of years to develop their game. But Josh Jacobs is out, so you don't even have as much of a possibility of, hey, we're going to really run Jacobs a lot, kind of let Penix work his way in. He's going to have to hit the ground running. Yes. He did that with the best offensive line in the nation, with Rome Odunze, who we just raved about, with Jalen Polk, who's a French first-rounder. There's a lot of talent up in the Washington Huskies team that he benefited from. He did his part to elevate that college team. Now he's going to have to elevate a pro team the very next year.
Yeah. And we'll see. I think the name of the game for him, if he does go to the Raiders, is going to be take care of the ball. We want to be a team that plays good defense, that plays tough offense, and takes some shots down the field with our superstar receiver. Any thoughts on this?
No, I think this is kind of the landscape of the AFC West. A lot of teams just kind of restarting the whole franchise. Broncos, Raiders, same year. This is and also to get in front of the Giants, who have had top 30 visits with all the quarterbacks. So this is a very clear. Yeah, I love this pick.
So the 5th quarterback goes at number 11. Angel, you have the 12th pick, and take it away.
Yeah, with the 12th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia. I think he falls to them. I think the Darren Waller retirement stuff kind of scares them because they paid a lot of money and a lot of draft capital to get him. And I think to trade back and get the best player at his position by a wide margin and to add to that wide receiver or pass catch, now you have Courtland Sutton with that kind of, up and down wide outs. And then you have Brock Bowers. And if Darren Waller comes back, you have 2 solid tight ends. Even if Waller leaves, Brock Bowers is kind of fell because there's so much other needs for the top 10. He just fell because there's not a need for these top 10 teams to have a tight end like this. Superb landing spot. Even if the quarterback isn't great, I think of the value here is the best part about this.
Yeah, because Brock Bowers is, let's be clear, not falling here to number 12 because of the talent level. He's falling here because of positional value.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, edge rushers, receivers, teams are just going to value that position more, and so those guys are going to go ahead. Brock Bowers, a year ago, people are saying top 5 talent in the draft coming up. This guy can line up at tight end. He can line up in the backfield. He could go line up in the slot. I think he does it all his rookie year. He's just a weapon. And think about this Giants offense under escaping my Brian Daboll. The people we've seen be successful as far as a receiver in this offense have been the people who operated in the flats, over the middle, kind of the shorter game guys. Seems like a guy who could take something like that, go to the house, rack up the yak yards.
Yeah,
I like the fit.
Yeah, his accolades and his pedigree and his resume, they're going to be so thrilled to have this guy in the building and to add to that. If you can't get it right at wide receiver, I mean, they tried Courtland Sutton and they tried these guys. this is just a slam dunk pick. This is awesome.
I did want to talk about here, DA. So Giants here have done some interesting moves here. They trade back. They pass on the quarterbacks. They take Brock Bowers. Thoughts on that?
I think that you got to have a lot of confidence that Daniel Jones is your guy, or you got to have a lot of confidence that you can make the right quarterback move coming up. And maybe people are attracted to New York as a market. Maybe they have some more free agency pull or something. I think we're kind of getting to the point where Daniel Jones has proven that he can hang in the NFL. He's got some kind of an NFL career. I don't know if he's the guy you really want to build your team around. But at the same time, they made the playoffs just the year before this last one. So maybe Daboll has some magic, and Bowers is going to be key to helping Jones rediscover it if possible.
So Brock Bowers goes to the Giants there at number 12. And number 13, I have the pick, and I will make it now. With the 13th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals finally make their own pick and take tackle out of Oregon State, Taliese Fuaga. I'm not going to pretend to know a ton about the tackles, but what I do know is that consensus...
Specimen.
This guy is number one. I mean, or number one, number two under Joe Alt. But this guy, I know he's a crazy athlete. I know he played well, obviously, this last year. And I know he's been a name that people have been flirting around with this kind of middling first round for a very long time. And there's a reason. Turn on the tape. I mean, he moves like a cat. He's very, very strong at the point of attack. I think he slots right into that left tackle spot. They move on from longtime left tackle Beachum.
Yeah.
And I think he slots right in there to that Jonathan Gannon offense.
Yeah.
And they picked up Paris Johnson recently as well, but Fuaga can play either side.
Yeah.
So you can mix and match. You can find whatever the best combination is. You get your best 5 linemen out there. You give Kyler more time in the pocket. You give him more lanes to scramble out of the pocket. The entire offense is better for it.
Yeah. Don't want to give it too much here, but a little run coming up. DA, give us that next pick.
At the 14th pick, the New Orleans Saints select tackle Olu Fashanu from Penn State, especially with Ryan Ramczyk hurt, especially with Trevor Penning not really panning out so far in the league. They're looking for tackle. They get into it before the run clears all of the options out. Fashanu, a very athletic left tackle, but that is a position of need for them, especially with the injury here. Derek Carr isn't the kind of player who is scrambling, creating, making magic. You need to give him some protection up front. Fashanu fits here.
To give some context to that, Ryan Ramczyk dealing with a major knee injury. It's even being floated out that he might not even play this season.
Yeah. And then,
so they need to protect themselves against possibly that.
And then Penning hasn't been productive at all. Andres Pete is gone now, so this is a clear need. And like David Adams said, they gotta get in this tackle pool fast because these tackles start. It is a deep class, but you don't want to be last in line. You want to get one of the top 3, top 4 options, and the Saints just got one.
So Fuaga, Fashanu go there back to back, and let's go to that number 15 pick. Angel, take it away.
Yeah, with the 15th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Colts select Quinton Mitchell, cornerback Toledo. Who did he play? Doesn't matter. Senior Bowl standout.
I love how you're arguing against yourself.
Well, I don't care. This guy is a shine in the Senior Bowl, has all the tools, and the Colts. Their best corner is a nickel corner, Kenny Moore. Yeah. He's a clear upgrade at that perimeter cornerback. And they throw him right in. He's a stud right away, and he fits right in with that locker room because he fit the positional need for him. He's gonna be the shadow corner, and I think Kenny Moore in the nickel with a very underrated defense last year. I think this just adds to that.
Kenyon Mitchell is the prime example for someone who just totally owned the draft process and shot up everyone's board. Mm-hmm. He was more of a early second round pick, maybe a mid-second round pick. And through this draft process, he has continued to rise to where now he's the best cornerback in the league, in the draft right now. And I'm not surprised to see him go here to the Colts.
Yeah.
I think this is something that you can find a cornerback from maybe a smaller school, something like that. One of the last ones to go really high and hit the ground running right away, Sauce Gardner, right, for Cincinnati.
Yes.
And he was locking down opposition in a little bit of a lesser conference, but the whole point is to keep people from even going at you anyway.
Right.
So Mitchell's going to have to prove that he can do that at the NFL level. Obviously, right. Hey, when it's Toledo, you can pick on some Toledo's cornerback too. That's a lot easier, right? Yeah. He's going to get tested, but I don't have as much of a reservation as I would picking a quarterback from Toledo or something like that. Yeah. I think Mitchell's a great pick.
Yeah, and you'll think in that rookie year, he'll look across the field right away and see C.J. Stroud. He'll see
he'll be tested early.
A couple of quarterbacks there. And just playing in the AFC. Yeah, he'll get tested right away. looking forward to seeing it. Quinton Mitchell goes there to the Indianapolis Colts. I will move ahead here with the next pick, and we have another trade. This is one of my favorite transactions to make.
Yeah.
This was my pick. I have the Rams here coming up from number 19, going 3 spots up. Who have them jump in? I know it's important. The Jaguars, yes. Yeah. For edge pass rusher with the 16th overall pick. Laiatu Latu, edge out of UCLA, the hometown kid, stays in LA, playing for the Rams. As a pass rusher, I love this kid. Mm-hmm. He's like I said it earlier, and I think I like it better for him. He's like a cat.
Yep.
His feet are incredible. His motor is insane. Mm-hmm. He's going to be they're going to love him in LA. The D-line takes a little bit of a hit with Aaron Donald. I love what they did last year on the D-line, particularly in the draft. Yep. I think Latu just adds to that, and I think begins to make somewhat of an identity for them on defense with adding this guy to the fold.
Yeah, he had a little bit of injury stuff, but I think he fell in the draft because of that. But I think he's a phenomenal pass rusher. I'm a UCLA fan, so I've seen a lot of games. He's a playmaker. I think he's capable of doing 4-3 or like 3-4. Yeah. So the Rams kind of do a versatile thing there anyway. So I think he fits right in and also stays home in Los Angeles. So he's probably, it's a fantastic fit.
Laiatu Latu with the 16th overall pick. D, I'm going to throw it to you now for number 17, Jacksonville Jaguars.
I have the 17th overall pick. The Jacksonville Jaguars select Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Bama. And really 2 corners right up at the top. There's a couple of other really good ones in the class, but most big boards, most mock drafts have Arnold and Mitchell kind of fighting it out for the top spot. Mitchell may be taking a little bit of the lead over the last couple of weeks, but Arnold's really good. And honestly, he's someone that entering the season, you would have thought this is the number 2 corner at Bama behind Kool-Aid McKinstry. And McKinstry was being talked about as the number 1 corner in the class overall heading into the season. But what Arnold actually put out on the field, what he actually displayed in the SEC, going up against receivers like Malik Nabers that we've already talked about, or even your Ladd McConkey, your Ricky Pearsall, those kind of fringe first, early second round types. There's a lot of receiver talent in the SEC every year. He showed up. He played great. Jacksonville is pumped. They desperately need corner. They desperately need a receiver. A great one falls into their lap right here, Terrion Arnold.
That's what the point I was gonna make. I love the Terrion Arnold pick. I would love him to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Could also see him looking at a receiver here. What they paid Gabe Davis leads me to believe that they think a lot more of him than maybe I do. So that's why I think they do shy away from receiver and go cornerback. But I think either one can go. I love Terrion Arnold here. Angel, you have the 18th overall pick. Cincinnati Bengals, take it away.
Yeah, with the 18th pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Byron Murphy, D-tackle, Texas. I think the loss of DJ Reader, I know they signed Sheldon Rankins, but BJ Hill's getting a little older, and Rankins had one good year, which was last year under D'Amico Ryans. I don't think that alleviates their need in that. And Byron Murphy is the best defensive tackle in this whole class. I think it's a need. It's a slam dunk pick, and this is a perfect fit for this kind of defense.
It's a perfect fit for the division.
Yeah.
Let me give you some names here: Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. These are all running backs in your division, the toughest division in football. You get to those winter months, you're going to want some big boys down the middle there, and I think this guy fits right in there with the names that you mentioned, getting some toughness. D, any thoughts on Byron Murphy to the
Bengals
here?
I think being able to stop the run early in the game, right? You're going to have Burrow, you're going to have Chase, you're going to have Higgins. You're going to be able to put up points, force the other team to be one-dimensional. I think it's a great pick for Cincy.
Yeah, Byron Murphy is an athletic pass rusher. I think he adds a dimension that DJ Reader kind of really didn't.
And a team that we all see competing this year.
Yeah.
Like Joe Burrow's coming back. This guy's going to play some very important snaps
right away.
in the playoffs. He'll be tested right away as well. Let's move on here. The Seahawks have traded back, and with the 19th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks take center Jackson Powers-Johnson out of Oregon. Go Ducks. And he goes to the Seahawks. They need O-line help. It's kind of a great fit. I was desperately trying to get my boy back to the Eagles, but just didn't quite make it. I think the Seahawks here plug in a guy that people think is going to be Jason Kelce-esque, like as far as a very good player for a very long time.
Yeah, I think this is oddly enough, one of our favorite draft prospects on the show is Powers-Johnson. I think it's obvious fit. The McDonald wants to go in there and run the ball. They haven't had a good center since Brian Unger, right? Unger was there, right? Yeah. I think this is a slam dunk pick. You put him right there in the middle with those youngish linemen. I think this is kind of solidifies that offensive line, and it's the best center by a wide margin in this draft.
I love it. Now, David Adams is a Ravens fan, so I'm going to do something to him here. Given the Pittsburgh Steelers are making the next pick, I'm going to have you announce it, my friend. Take it away.
With the 20th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers go find a kicker or something like that. I don't know what they're doing. No, I'm going to play this one straight. I'm going to give him Amarius Mims, the tackle out of Georgia. And honestly, this is disgusting, and I hate this because Mims has a lot of upside. Now, he's only started 8 games in college. Georgia, right? It's just a talent factory.
Yep.
It's going to be hard to get on the field in front of guys like Broderick Jones, right? Last year, and then some injuries popped up for him as well this season that limited it when really he was the starter for them. But crazy talent, crazy athletic gifts. And this could be really important for them, solidifying that line. You've got someone like Najee Harris, right? He's a good running back, but he's not he's someone that you need to give him a little bit of blocking in front of him so that he can run downhill. Right. I think this helps. I think keeping the Steelers from having to have Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, whoever it may be, win the game by themselves, especially without Deontay Johnson now.
Yeah.
So being able to solidify up in the trenches, being able to go to war, right? 6 games a year in division, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a bloodbath. I think this is a great pick for them.
So Amarius Mims there joins his teammate, who David mentioned earlier, Broderick Jones. Hopefully the Steelers here, in their mind, are getting bookend tackles. And now an offensive line that was really, really bad a couple years ago is starting to take form.
Starting to look a little
starting
better.
to add some talent.
Oh, yeah.
I like what they're doing. Angel, take us forward here to pick number 21.
In the 21st pick in the NFL Draft, the Dolphins select Jer'Zhan Newton. I cannot say his name. This is just a position of need. They lost Christian Wilkins, phenomenal tackle here. I think the loss of him, and I think Zettler and Deshaun Hand are now their projected starters. You don't go into a league year with those two guys. Right. I think this is just a solid fit and a day one starter for them.
Yeah. Maybe the best back in their division, Josh Allen, demands that you have a stout defensive line. I think you cannot, like you said, the guys that you mentioned, great players, not the guys you want to really rely on all that much going in. I think they added this guy to the fold for a reason.
Yeah.
Toughen up.
I think this is a huge year for them as well, right? Got off to a strong start last year, went into Kansas City, to be fair, brutal conditions, and just didn't look like they had much of a shot in that playoff game. So they can't afford to take a step back without Wilkins. They can't afford to take a step back with Tua's contract looming and whatever decisions have to be made there.
Right.
They've got to plug holes. They've got to fill needs. I think this is a great pick for them.
And that's exactly what this feels like. Let's plug the hole. Let's keep moving. Let's try to squeeze out a championship here out of the roster we have. With the next pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to throw it over to the table here to Mr. A.J. Woodson to take it away.
Yes, sir. With the 22nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Super Bowl 52 champion Philadelphia Eagles select Cooper DeJean, defensive back from Iowa.
Love it. All-pro.
We are filling a position of need finally.
Yes.
This now he got hurt. He hurt his he broke his fibula back in November.
Nice.
He's starting workouts this coming Monday, but this is a guy you can put anywhere on the field. I'd be psyched if this is the pick. That
also,
making.
A diversity hire.
Yeah, let's get out of the way. He's white.
Yeah.
Diversity. He's white.
He's a white cornerback.
To
diversity.
When who was the Ryan Mendenhall? When he had that tweet, mid-season about white team, black team, and everyone kind of ran with it. Cooper DeJean was already being brought up there. Hey, Team White really needs this guy to step up at the quarterback position. Yep. All seriousness, though, I would love this to the Eagles. I love his scheme diversity. I think he can possibly be a safety. He could go down to the slot, play a tight end, or someone in the slot, actually play a slot cornerback. I love that he could be all over the place. I think he's a playmaker. I think he's incredible ball skills. I think 2 of the interceptions that he did have went back for 6. I think he's a playmaker. I love Cooper DeJean to the Eagles. I want it. Give it to me.
Yeah, I think last year they were kind of showed their weakness in that secondary. I think this is a obvious need, great fit. At one point, he was the best corner in this draft, but not because I think everyone else kind of lived up to where he was at. There's no knock on him at all that he's the third corner. I think he's a phenomenal pick here.
Let's move forward here, and before we move forward, we have another trade.
Ooh.
This is a big one. This is a very big trade here. The Cardinals slated to make a pick say, no,
Nope.
Like the Rams used to say, F them picks.
F them picks.
They're going to move back. The Niners come up here and they pay a hefty price. Brandon Aiyuk. DA, explain why you did this.
So Arizona moved back from 4
Right.
in order for Minnesota to come up. They stockpiled picks there. They moved down from 11 to allow the Raiders to go up and get Penix, acquiring more picks there. They already had some picks from last year in moving down in order for the Texans to come up and get Will Anderson. Now, they've got a lot of needs on their roster. There's a lot of places they could use those picks, but they've got to get star-level players, and this is a huge chance for them to find a player who's clearly talented, who's clearly productive, who's clearly not happy in San Francisco with what the contract situation might look like for him. It is an in-division trade, and so that's, I think, the one difficulty that might keep this from happening. But a team that didn't even have the chance to pick up Marvin Harrison, probably the top receiver seemingly in this class, they've got to go get someone that's better than Michael Wilson, right? There's something there as a perimeter receiver 3. But now with Aiyuk, you get McBride. Now there's something for Kyler to be able to throw to. Without it, you're really in trouble. So I think Aiyuk to the Cardinals makes a lot of sense. They have a ton of draft capital. They cash it in for a more established player.
They also get what he wants. They pay him right away.
Yeah,
they give him the contract he's looking for. Now, talk with the Niners. Brian, sorry, did you not have to pick yet?
So the Niners come up and get Brian Thomas Jr.,
Okay,
wide receiver out of LSU. And I think this is something else that it's tricky to work out these picks, right? Because Aiyuk feels better than anyone you're getting at the 23rd pick, but you've also got to pay him that large contract right away. And so we've seen, right, players like A.J. Brown get traded for a mid-first when if he was in the draft, I mean, he'd be way higher than that. But because the contract has to fit in with it as well. San Francisco, though, able to find this kind of sweet spot because with all of these tackles, with some of these other players, a really good receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. has now fallen. On the way over, I was looking at some of his measurables, and he's 1 inch taller and 5 pounds heavier than DJ Chark. Both ran the same 40 time within a hundredth of a second. But here's the thing, right? DJ Chark, also out of LSU, big, talented, toolsy kind of receiver. His senior season, 800 yards, 3 touchdowns. Brian Thomas Jr.'s senior season, 1,200 yards, 18 touchdowns, led the nation. Hey, you play across from Malik Nabers, life gets easier. You play with Jayden Daniels as your quarterback, life gets easier. But he's proven he can be a field stretcher. He can score. There's a threat there. And now, man, you've got CMC working underneath. You've got Kittle running people over. You've got Debo running people over. Now you've got this guy with 4.33 speed stretching the field. Just another tool for Shanahan to use. That's a scary offense there.
I mean, the Niners employing the plan that we're laying out for a lot of these other teams where they have made a situation for a quarterback so good, so advantageous that we've seen what Brock Purdy has looked like at times with all these weapons. I think you need to maintain that. And that's why I like this pick. Brian Thomas, I love his tape. I love going watching him. He's just a fluid receiver that I think he could step in right away, be impactful. Love the fit here. Love how you kind of just keep it rolling with Aiyuk. I think there is value to resetting that clock with the contract, with trading away the receiver, even though sometimes it can work out where you trade away A.J. Brown and it was the wrong move because Traylon Burks was not the guy. But we're seeing this in even kind of in a much bigger scale in Chicago. I think a big reason they take Caleb Williams and move him from Justin Fields because you restart that clock. The economics of it makes sense. I like it. Brian Thomas.
It's very similar to the A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown, as soon as they traded him, they drafted Traylon Burks, whose comp was A.J. Brown. So I think this is not too far out of the imagination to imagine that something like this could happen. I think the Cardinals here so far at this point have nailed this draft, collecting assets plus Brandon Aiyuk to pair with Michael Wilson and then obviously Kyler Murray. Fantastic.
9 picks to go here with the draft. We'll take a quick break, and we'll wrap up this draft. So far, so good, though. Be right back. Okay, we're back here. We're going to wrap up this first-round mock draft. It's been a good time so far, boys.
Yeah.
God, the draft needs to be here sooner.
Yeah. Also, elephant in the room for those who are keeping up at home, Bo Nix still on the board.
Yeah, got some guys falling here.
Yep.
Let's go over to the Cowboys at number 24. Now the Cowboys haven't done much. DA, take it away.
With the 24th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Troy Fautanu, tackle from Washington. Some people think that he's more of a tackle. Some people think he can play all over the line.
Yeah.
You've got some flexibility with Tyler Smith and losing Tyron Smith here in the offseason, just immediately plugging something right back in. They really need a running back, but there's just not a first-round talent running back this year. They maybe come back around to it in the second or the third. They could potentially use another wide receiver, but CD's so good. They're funneling him a lot of the targets anyway. You just got to solidify the line, keep Dak upright. You think about Knicks. You think about maybe some kind of succession plan for Dak, kind of a la Jordan Love. But I think you just have to go all in this year. They're a good enough team they could make some noise if they weren't, the Cowboys and fall short in the playoffs every year.
Oh,
but
wow!
I think that restocking
don't
the
worry,
line
Cowboy fans don't watch our show anymore.
the Eagles fandom has already chased them away.
Gone.
So with no Cowboys fans here, we can say whatever.
Yes.
But they're a talented team. There's definitely a lot of the pieces here. Even some of the other teams in the playoff picture. If I had to pick one between Dak and Goff, I would pick Dak. If I had to pick one between CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra St. Brown, man, Amon-Ra's awesome, but I'd pick CeeDee. There's a lot of talent that's already on this team. I think Fautanu hopefully keeps it rolling for him.
Yeah, also, they drafted Tyler Smith to be the next guy at left tackle, I think. And then they could just put this guy wherever kind of they want, left guard, right guard, or right. Yeah, so this is a great pick.
I think Jerry Jones is a type of man who knows what has worked in the past and is going to stick with it and is not going to stray from that. I think that's why he goes O-line here. Yeah. All the great Cowboy teams, and I say great meaning regular season great, that we know of have had great offensive lines, and I think they need to keep that up with this guy. Tyron Smith moves on, obviously. Tyler Smith ready to step in. Yep. I think put Fautanu there, and he kind of upholds that, and they're all in.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And Tyler Smith has been playing left guard, so, if he's more comfortable there, then you just kick Fautanu outside and you keep Smith there. But it gives you options, so no matter what direction you go.
Now, we don't have Brian Gutekunst.
No.
Good old Gunter.
No.
But we do have our very own registered Packers owner, Gabe Tovar, over at the desk. And so I will kick it over to Gabe Tovar for the 25th overall pick. Take it away.
With the 25th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers are taking Nate Wiggins.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. With Amarius St. Brown, you got Justin Jefferson, you got DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen. Jair Alexander can't shut them all down.
Yeah.
He's going to need some help. I like Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, 4.2 speed. Probably something that Eric Stokes was supposed to be with the Packers. Maybe that's what they're hoping he is. Start off as a receiver. I'm hoping that translates. But yeah, the recovery speed, definitely something that we need. Pairing up with Jair Alexander, I love this pick right
here.
now.
Yeah, also, the Packers always throw assets at cornerback. This is just another guy, and hopefully he's the last guy because he's very, very good.
That's what I was going to say.
It's been swing and miss. It's been swing and miss in the last few years.
The Packers using a first-round pick on a defensive back just feels right. Yep. They, of course, signed one of my favorite signings, David McKinney. Now they bring in Nate Wiggins to complement Jair Alexander, and they are now recreating creating another really good secondary there in a division, like you said. They're going to need it.
Yep, for sure.
DA.
The one weakness that you wonder about with Wiggins is that he is very quick, he's very fast, in part because he's not
very
all
light.
That big. Yeah, he's not carrying as much weight around.
173.
Yeah, and so that definitely is the direction the league's going more. You think about someone like Minnesota, right? They went out and they got Jordan Addison this past offseason, who's about that same weight himself. So it's going to remain to be seen if he can tackle at this kind of level. But in terms of pure cover skills, in terms of speed and recovery and acceleration, A+ across the board there.
Yeah. They love it. Let's move on here. Angel, you have the 26th pick. The Bucs, go ahead.
With the 26th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Kool-Aid McKinstry, 5-star recruit. This is almost the adult thing to do. A 5-star recruit, played all 3 years at Bama, got hurt during the combine. He'll be ready by week 1.
Liz Frank?
Yeah. No. Jones fracture.
Jones fracture.
Yeah. But still, they just traded Carlton Davis. Obvious need here. I think they just plug him right in and just hope that he can play up to the Carlton Davis standard and hopefully be even better. This is a very deep corner class. Just because these cornerbacks are being taken 4th, 5th, or 6th does not mean that they're bad. It just means that it's just such a loaded class. This is a very good spot for him.
Yeah. The Bucs feel like a team that, in their minds, kind of like with the Raiders,
like Raiders East,
they're not looking to rebuild in any way. They brought back Evans. They of course signed Baker Mayfield. I think they're going for it, and I think they are in that plugging holes type mentality. That being said, Kool-Aid McKinstry, if he is what people thought he was a year ago, it's incredible value here. DA mentioned earlier, they were talking about this guy top 10 a year ago. He was that kind of talent. Terrion Arnold kind of jumps him here. But Kool-Aid McKinstry still here, lands in the first. I like the value. I like the fit. I think this could be like an upside pick here in the back end of the first. DA, what do you think?
I think this is something that when we've been talking about teams looking to move up, you run it back 6 months ago, and it would have felt like Tampa Bay would either be high enough to get a quarterback or would be a team that maybe was in that 13-ish range that would need to move up.
Yeah.
But Baker played well enough. There's enough infrastructure there with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rachaad White. You've got some of these pieces here that it's time to reload and at least, get back to the playoffs. They won a game last time around. Can they do that again? Can they compete at the highest level of this conference? They need to take a step forward instead of kind of reconfiguring.
They're definitely within, they could win a division still.
Yeah.
Even with the Falcons doing what they did, I think it's them and the Falcons at top of this division kind of fighting it out all year. And I think plugging holes and maintaining that competitive plateau with them could be a good move here. I want to, before we move on here, we've talked about them a couple times now, but I think the Bucs, is there any chance here they take a look at Bo Nix with Mayfield on a good contract, but 3-year and probably more like a 1 or 2 year? Any chance they took a look at Bo Nix here and say, listen, let's throw him in the back burner, give him some time to cook, although he might not need it because he's not a young guy.
See, the problem with that is that he's not like young guy. So by the time you give him a start, he'll be 27, 28, and you don't really want to. That's just the reason why. But they could. But I think the money talks, and they just paid Baker a crap load of money.
Yeah. DA, any thoughts on that?
I'd agree with that. If this was, if McCarthy hadn't quite risen as much and like McCarthy was on the board at this point, man, maybe you go for the young prospect. But with Nix being a lot more experienced, having spent a lot more time in college, he's just not on the timeline they'd be looking for.
I agree. Let's move to the 27th overall pick here. The Cardinals are going to take Chop Robinson, edge out of Penn State. Cardinals have been the story of the first round so far, like they were last year, trading back twice. To give them Texans those or I think Will Anderson pick, right? They now take Chop Robinson, a very, very impressive edge. Not crazy productive, but someone who also just killed it in the pre-draft process. Chop Robinson here, adding to this defense. They trade back and get Chop Robinson. I think they're happy with that. Still come out of the first round with plenty of assets toward next year. Could still move around. Could still make a big trade if they need to. But I think grabbing him here, getting someone in the fold here as a young pass rusher, is a good move.
Yeah, drafting him and then Fuaga at 13. A clear emphasis on O-line, D-line. I think when you're a team that has nothing, you have to start from the ground up. And they're doing if they were to draft these two guys in this, they would come out and phenomenal because they have draft picks. They have Brandon Aiyuk, and they have building blocks on the O-line, D-line. This is a fantastic pick.
Do you got anything on that?
With Chop Robinson, like you said, crazy physical tools, not a whole lot of production. Really, it's going to come down to, even if we just want to think about Penn State, is this guy going to be Micah Parsons that all of a sudden walks onto an NFL field with the craziest athletes in the world, and even among them stands out as the freak of all freaks?
Yeah. Or
is he going to be Odafe Owe? And he's flashed a little bit for us in Baltimore, but, hey, he's toolsy as well. He's got a lot of the measurables as well. Got 0 sacks his senior year. His pressure numbers were okay. Chop's a little bit above that, but kind of that same sort of feels like he could be better, should be better than he is. Where in that spectrum he lands is going to be big, but with Arizona having so many resources to throw at it, this isn't the kind of thing where this is their one pick in the first 3 rounds because of other trades. We have to land this guy or else we're in trouble. They've got some flexibility here. I think this is great. This is the time to take that shot on upside.
I think so, too. I think it's a perfect time to take that shot. So Chop Robinson goes number 27. Let's move on here to the 28th pick. I'll make it as well. The Buffalo Bills select Ennis Rakestraw, cornerback out of Missouri.
What a name.
First of all, great name.
Yep.
Second of all, great fit. Goes straight to a team that's going to be competing right away and to a team that is plugging holes as well. I like what they've done in the offseason, but they've lost some talent this offseason, particularly on that defense, particularly in that secondary. Right now, they have slated Christian Benford and Russell Douglas as their cornerbacks 1 and 2. Those players are fine. Not a lot of high-end upside, shadow your best receiver type players there. I think you maybe get someone there with the potential at least to be that guy. Ennis Slayton, I think he plays a lot as a rookie. They went through an insane amount of injuries in their defensive backfield last year, and so he may be playing a lot more than even I think at this point. But Ennis Rakestraw here lands in Buffalo, AFC East, Buffalo Bills.
And some of these teams that we're looking at this range, right, the last 2 picks, we saw Tampa Bay, good year, overperformed expectations for sure.
Yeah.
Arizona, they have the pick from Houston originally, and so there's a rebuilding team. That's not where Buffalo is. Buffalo is Super Bowl or bust. They've been Super Bowl or bust.
Yep.
They have to be ready to compete. They have to be ready to go up against Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, everyone else that you're going to face in this conference across the field from you at quarterback. You got to have defensive backs ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their defensive backfield, it's totally rebuilt. Taylor Rapp, Mike Edwards comes over from the Chiefs, and of course Russell Douglas was just a late pickup last year. Benford, kind of new to the fold now. It's just a complete rebuild. But I think at their top end, a unit that can compete maybe even in big games.
Yeah.
Angel, I'm going to throw it to you here. I know you have a big move here, and I'll let you take it away.
We have a trade on our hands
Let's
here.
go, baby!
The Lions have traded 29th overall pick to the New York Football Giants.
Whoa!
And in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Bo Nix, quarterback Oregon.
There we go.
I think when they see him on the board there, and they see how it won't cost them a first to pick, they in my trade, they've traded two seconds, one this year, one next, and a fourth this year, to acquire Bo Nix to have an open competition with Daniel Jones. I think come out of this draft with Bo Nix, Brock Bowers, Courtland Sutton, and a first-round pick next year, you're jumping for joy. One, you have next year you can get off Daniel Jones with only $22 million of a dead cap. So if it doesn't work out, come next year, wash your hands of it, and you found your quarterback in Bo Nix. I think this is a position of need, obviously, and I think they didn't want to lose this draft without any kind of quarterback play at all, because once he gets past Bo Nix, it drops off very, very, very harshly. So I love this pick, and I think this is a very real possibility that if he falls this far, the Giants or another quarterback needy team, but the Giants will find a need and
this is a move that they do not because they think the Ravens, Niners, or Chiefs are going to grab this guy, but because you want that fifth-year option on your quarterback, and so they get back to the first round here to get Bo Nix in the first round, get that fifth-year option. I think you have a decent room at least. At least there's something other than Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
There's some other upside. There's some other possible scenario where you have a much better quarterback than you had last year, and even a quarterback room that you had last couple years. Bo Nix, who knows? I love the value at the end of the first round. Why not?
Yep.
Why not? DA?
And this is something we see, I mean, even with all of us in the same fantasy league and all of the quarterback injuries, you look at a team like Indianapolis that clearly had a quarterback plan in place, and yet when Anthony Richardson gets hurt, Gardner Minshew almost gets him to the playoffs, right? Gets him one game away. Here, this is a team that doesn't have a quarterback plan in place. Man, how much more do you need to have someone that you feel comfortable stepping in? The only question I have about this is if the Giants are unsure enough about Daniel Jones that they need to have an eye towards the future, they need to have an eye towards other options. They've had other opportunities earlier on to take higher rated players. Now maybe they say by moving back we're able to pick up a first next year, Bowers, kind of this list of assets that you mentioned. Maybe that's more worth it to surround the player with talent, but you better be right on Bo Nix because otherwise if McCarthy's a star and Nix is a flop, well, we could have just stayed put and had that guy.
Yeah.
So you got to be right.
I think this is very realistic because of the game they have to play with their owner. At the owner's meetings, I forgot his name, but the owner came out and did say, I would love for Daniel Jones to work. I like Daniel Jones. I think he's talented enough to do it. If they want to bring another quarterback in, I wouldn't stop them, but I would like to see them make it with Daniel Jones. So they're kind of playing this game where don't want to piss off the owner, but we might not believe as much in Daniel Jones as we used to. Let's kind of not go all in on one of these guys that can be far more expensive and get Bo Nix. We're not breaking the bank and pissing off the owner, but we're still at least giving ourselves some other option if Daniel Jones continues not to play well.
Yeah, I think just to I understand the caution, but I think when you see him fall and you've done enough work, because they've had a visit with him, and they've seen he has enough tape where they don't really need to do any kind of combine on him, but obviously Daniel Jones doesn't inspire a lot of hope. I think this is just a pick where it doesn't cost you too much. I understand it's 2 seconds, and that's next year if the Giants are bad, that's a very high second-round pick. Yeah. But I think you have to get to the point where Dable might think, if I don't find a quarterback, I might lose my job. So this might be this might be a desperation. Like, we need to find a quarterback. If Bo Nix works, I look like a genius, and I just saved this whole Giants thing.
And I'm gonna need Brian Dable to make a quarterback work here if I'm gonna keep calling him a quarterback guru.
Yeah,
like he's gonna need to actually, have something in his resume other than Josh Allen at some point here. Maybe Bo Nix is that guy. Let's move over to pick number 30. Da, you have your Ravens. Take it away.
With the 30th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama. This is a huge pick. This is a huge player. This is probably a bigger position of need than maybe the outside media would feel like. The Ravens have had a really effective offensive line for the last couple of years. They're always towards the top of the metrics in terms of yards before contact per rush and things like that. But Ronnie Stanley is not the player he used to be, in large part because of injuries, but that is not the cornerstone franchise left tackle that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you were certain that you had. Linderbaum's awesome. Zeitler's moved on. Morgan Moses has been traded.
Right.
So you really do need to be looking at the offensive line in order to restock here. This is a team that's absolutely going to run, in part because of Lamar Jackson's unique skills, in part because of Lamar Jackson's limitations. And I don't think those limitations are insurmountable, but they're real enough that you have to think about them right now. And so getting some offensive line help, getting the opportunity to, even in some game that maybe you're up, that maybe Lamar could absolutely handle on his own. Guess what? Week 7 against, against some team that isn't all that good. Say, you're playing a team that got hit with injuries. Herbert misses 2 games with injury or something. You happen to catch him at that point.
Yeah.
Chargers not going to win that one. Cool. Let's just run Derrick Henry 25 times.
Yep.
Right? I don't need to have Lamar try to stretch out for 2 extra yards along the sideline. Protect him, keep him upright, hand it to Derrick Henry, let him get downhill with full head of steam. And I think Latham is great value at this point because of the talent in this class, especially on offense. I think that's the only thing that's making him slip. It's not questions that I have about him. He's a really talented player. He's not at that Joe Alt level. He's not like the absolute top of this class maybe, but he's really good. And so having him here at 30 is just a dream come true.
Yeah, I love that point. I mean, ESPN has him ranked as the 3rd overall tackle, above Fashanu, above Fuaga, above Mims. So it could be an incredible pick as far as value here. I love the point you made about at least the Ravens have it in their bag. They can just hand it off to Derrick Henry 25 times, who's obviously more than comfortable playing that role.
Yeah.
And when you come to the playoffs, Ravens fans, or at least NFL fans, want to see the Ravens stick to what makes them good and not stray away once again in a playoff game and start trying to throw the ball or whatever. They want to see a dominant offensive line. Now Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, what a duo in the backfield, and ride that to a AFC Championship, possibly a Super Bowl.
Also, it's not in the Ravens have always drafted well, and like you said, if they get him at 30, the Ravens always draft well. This wouldn't surprise me if he turns out to be a very, very good right tackle, left tackle, so wherever they put him next year.
And honestly, this past offseason, man, I'm a huge football fan. I'm always listening to football content. After that Chiefs game, I could not listen to any backwards-facing Super Bowl content. I listened to a couple of draft stuff. I just went dark for 2 weeks in the NFL. It was painful. And I think the frustrating thing is that, you know what, Lamar is not the pure thrower that some of these other players are, but sometimes we focus so much on that we miss what makes him effective.
Right.
It was coming together this year. It wasn't, some all-time historic MVP season, but statistically he was really good. He was throwing it as well as ever, in part because they could play off the threat of the run, even despite no J.K. Dobbins, even despite no Quinton Mitchell. Gus Edwards was still effective. The line was still effective. And then we go to Kansas City with some questions along their defensive line, other than Chris Jones, obviously, with 2 all-pro cornerbacks, and we hand it to a running back 6 times all game. And it's just...
Man,
Todd Monken was so good this year too.
Yeah.
We hit a nerve.
Yeah, but putting everything back on the table.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got to still choose to do it, and who knows? Maybe we run into the Chiefs again and they just out execute us.
Right.
But there's no excuses when you've got a talent like this at 30. When you've got a talent like Derrick Henry, you have to win. You have to convert.
Yep.
I mean, the Ravens are just every year top 2, top 3 running the ball. Ever since Lamar Jackson got there, they can run the ball. You think about a trio of Lamar Jackson, big old Derrick Henry, and lightning in a bottle Quinton Mitchell. Hopefully he comes back healthy. Those 3 behind a dominant offensive line, that is fun. Also a lot of fun fantasy-wise.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe even playable 2-backs there with Quinton Mitchell and Derrick Henry. DA, you also have the 31st pick. Take it away.
With the 31st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers pick Tyler Guyton, tackle from Oklahoma. And really the earlier pick that they had, you just had to fill the need. You traded away Brandon Aiyuk to get the pick. You pick Brian Thomas. That fills that spot. There we go. So this is their first chance to really add someone to the team, and they're going to keep throwing it into the offense, right? This is Shanahan's side of the ball. Yep. They've got a lot of defensive talent. Anyway, it's not like that side is hurting. You just try to build the absolute Death Star on that side. You get Guyton, you get another big body there. You play him across from Trent Williams, and you just try to hammer teams. Christian McCaffrey can make it happen even without a phenomenal offensive line, but you put him behind an ever-improving offensive line, and there's almost nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I think this is what the 49ers need.
I was talking to someone who runs a very large Niners fan page, and they love Colton McKivitz, who took over for Mike McGlinchey when he got signed by the Broncos there at right tackle. But they think he's maybe best suited for an interior line position. I think you kick him in, you bring in Tyler Guyton. Like you said, that Shanahan offense is built on running the ball. Yep. They have the best running back in the league. They might have the best player in the league in Christian McCaffrey. I think with these 2 moves, Brian Thomas Jr. and now getting Tyler Guyton, I think you have solidified yourself at least in the top 2-3 of the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFC, and you're still a Super Bowl contender. I think these are huge moves for maintaining that Super Bowl window that they've been in now for a couple years.
Yeah, it's never bad for a perennial, Super Bowl, perennial playoff team to improve the offensive line. Wherever you put this guy, he's going to help this team. I think you're right. I think they do need a little bit more help. And Trent Williams is getting up there in age. So maybe they start picking a tackle and saying, maybe we get a guy, play him a right tackle for a couple years. I'm not saying this guy, or maybe say next year, Trent Williams moves on, and we have at least options. We're not just thrown out there blind. So this helps you long-term as well as this year.
Angel, bring us home here, pick 32.
There you go. With the 32nd pick of the NFL draft, the Chiefs select cornerback TJ Tampa. Toolsy guy. I know people say he ran a 4.5. He's not fast. You know who else ran a 4.5? Jalen Johnson. The same kind of guy. Physical, kind of a almost a zone corner right now, but I think with the tools and with the Spags defense where you can't just trust him. I think he plays perimeter outside. Snead moves on. You fit him right in. And I think this is just a slam dunk. He is projected to be kind of a second-round pick, but I think the need outweighs kind of where you want to, I think this is a good pick. He's a physical corner, not afraid to make time. He reminds you of McDuffie. Yeah, because he could play in the box. He can and he can cover. I love this pick. I love this fit too.
I think adding TJ Tampa to this defense, which obviously was one of the most dominant units last year, really. Not a lot of people talk about it still, but the Chiefs kind of rode a great defense for a while because the offense wasn't quite clicking. We saw Kelsey wake up in the playoffs and Rashee Rice kind of come to his own, but the defense definitely carried them for a while here. I think it's a unit you have to continue to feed to keep this championship window open. Of course, we know the cornerback who's on to Tennessee.
Yep.
TJ Tampa here.
I was tempted to put Xavier Worthy here, combine standout.
Yeah.
And now with the Rashee Rice thing, look a little bit more like reality, but for now.
That's the question here. DA, I ask you this. With Rashee Rice doing what he's doing, are you tempted to take a receiver?
I think I'm looking at it because all offseason there's been the conversation, even heading into the offseason, are they going to go out and get somebody? Are they going to go out and try to pry Mike Evans out of Tampa? Are they going to hope that Cincinnati will trade with another Super Bowl rival and see if they can get T. Higgins free? So they've gotten Hollywood Brown. I think that's a good move. He's a quality player. But he's proven that he's not, a one. It's okay. You've got Travis Kelce, but do they really want to play out the season in the same kind of way, hope that Mahomes can elevate them when it's all said and done, hope the defense can elevate them when it's all said and done, especially given how deep this receiver class is, a lot of teams feeling comfortable waiting, hey, maybe I'm going to snipe one of only a couple of good corners or something at the very top, and then I'm going to come back around in the second and get a receiver.
Right.
Yeah. There's only 4 of them off the board. So whoever you think that 5th guy is, whether it's Xavier Worthy or Adonai Mitchell or Lad McConkey or whoever, you've got a lot of options here. But if you want that one-for-one, man, the biggest hole on the roster right now is that L'Jarius Sneed's no longer there.
Right.
You plug TJ Tampa right in. You can see the thought process behind it.
I tell you what, if this is the way it goes down, look for an early run on receivers in the second round.
Start with Carolina. Adonai Mitchell would be my next wideout.
Oh,
He'd be so
in
quickly.
Second
Round, top.
or Worthy, however one they like.
Yeah, it would definitely be one of those guys. So I think if you're looking to get a wideout before that run, this would be kind of the area where the Chiefs maybe they want to trade back to, I don't know, something. This would be the last kind of chance to get it before the run because you're right. Start of the second round is where you could start picking up all these wideouts who fell because of the deep O-line class, because the quarterbacks got taken so much in the first round. Yeah, that's it's gonna be interesting to see the second round after all these wideouts have stayed.
As we wrap it up here, let's quickly. I want to hear your favorite pick, your least favorite pick, looking at this whole first round draft, and real quick, kind of why on each. TA, you want to start us off?
I think a pick I love is Rome Odunze to the Jets. They need weapons around Rodgers. You have to make this year count, right? Yeah. When they got Rodgers, they talked about, hey, you've probably got like a 2-year window. Well, year 1 is gone. So now you've got a 1-year window, right? And getting Rome Odunze in, he's a great fit next to Garrett Wilson. He's a great talent just in a vacuum. I love Rome Odunze there. I think in terms of ones I've got questions on, I think that something – I like the player. I love the player. I love the value. Are the 49ers going to regret trading a proven, really good receiver in Aiyuk when they are arguably, especially with no L'Jarius Sneed, especially with Rashee Rice's situation up in the air, arguably the best team in the league right now, is now really the time to take a step back and kind of reconfigure, consolidate, or do you just say, this is our time, we have to convert now? I like the player, and I am the one that made the call on it. So I got to question myself here, I guess. But I think that if it went wrong, there would be a lot of second guessing. Yeah. There would be a lot of revisionism going on with this one.
I'll go next and have you finish first. My favorite pick in this draft is Jared Verse to the Bears. I think the Bears showing up that defense and tag team. I love a good pass rushing duo there with Montez Sweat and how that defense played down the back end there. I love their secondary. I tell you, you know how to make a good secondary into a great secondary that takes the ball away? Get a pass rush in there. Jared Verse, Montez Sweat, I think they do that. You got Tyreek Stevenson. You got Jalen Johnson. You got safety. Eddie Jackson. Brisker. Juwan Brisker. I think you have a lot of talent there, and I think the Packers are in trouble.
Yeah.
My least favorite pick is Brock Bowers. Not because I don't like the player. I think it's as uninspired as you can be for the Giants. Get another tight end. So now if you have Waller back, instead of maybe a brand new shiny quarterback like maybe the Broncos, even if it doesn't work out, at least you'll be excited about JJ McCarthy and the prospects that could be. Instead, you're trotting out there 2 tight ends and like, all right, let's get 4 yards in a cloud of dust and we'll see with Daniel Jones. I know they did make a trade later for a quarterback. If I'm a Giants fan, I'm so frustrated at this point. I want to win. I want to, even when they did make the playoffs a couple years, they got spanked by the Eagles. You just haven't had anything really anything really to hang your hat on as a Giants fan lately. Yeah. Really, you're still looking back at the Eli Manning years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with that, I guess, but I think the position to defend my pick here a little bit. I think they just need pass catchers. I think he's the best available. I think they'll just figure out a way because he could play in the slot a lot. They could have both of them. They could mix and match these guys. I think they get creative with them, but I understand the.
Can he play quarterback?
Well, that's why I gave them. I think Bo Nix kind of give them a competition there. I think
he played quarterback.
Yes, he has a lot of tape. A lot of tape on him playing quarterback.
Best and worst.
I like Jayden Daniels for the reason that you have proven to Justin Jefferson, your superstar wideout, who's looking for a new contract, that you're going to keep attacking this quarterback room. You're not going to sit with your hands tied, just like, oh well, we lost Kirk. It's gonna be Sam Darnold. No, you attacked it and you proven to him, as long as you're here, as long as we're trying to be a winning, we're going to keep on attacking this spot. I think Justin Jefferson probably loves that if they draft a quarterback, because now he's like, I don't have Sam Darnold or some other guy throwing me the ball. The flip side, my least favorite is the Dallas Turner over Jared Verse. I'm wondering if they're going to regret the career and the standout defensive end that Jared Verse is over the kind of toolsy. He's a real
hybrid.
Hybrid. Kind of don't know what he is, but you know what Jared Verse is. I think that might come back to bite. I'm curious to see if they actually do that, because I have Verse over Dallas Turner. So that would be my pick that I'm not really sure about, is him over Verse.
That is our 2024 mock draft, version 1.0. We're going to do this a couple more times. We got a couple weeks to do it. I do want to thank DA coming in for the studio today and dropping some knowledge on us. Thank you for the boys over there at the desk for keeping up. And that is our episode for today. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you again on Friday. Another episode. Keep coming. Not sure what we're going to talk about yet, but we'll find something.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see you Friday.
Peace.
Bye.